this has got to be as close to perjury as you can get without maybe committing perjury. You decide.
Ms. Monaco, let me just start with you, if I could. I want to ask you a question that I asked Judge Garland when he was before our committee a couple of weeks ago. Is it your view that unlawful entry should remain a crime in the United States? That is, unlawful entry into the U.S., should that remain a crime?
Well, Senator, President Biden has been quite clear that he is not for decriminalizing the border, and neither am I. If I'm confirmed as the Deputy Attorney General, the job of the Justice Department will be to enforce the law and to do so consistent with priorities focusing on national security and public safety.
Good. Thank you. Thank you for that answer. Let me ask you this. Should ICE still be authorized to conduct detention and removal operations within the United States?
Well, I would not want to get ahead of, and it would certainly not be in my purview to set the guidance for ICE, obviously coming under the Department of Homeland Security. But my view is they should be enforcing the law consistent with the laws on the books and consistent with their own resource constraints. But obviously that would be outside my purview.
Let me just ask you a broad question on that. If you are confirmed as the Deputy Attorney General, do you intend to faithfully enforce the immigration laws that are passed by Congress as currently exist in statute?
Yes, Senator. The job of the Justice Department is to faithfully and fairly enforce the law and to do so independently and without any improper considerations.
Great. Let me switch gears and ask you a different question. In 2011, you expressed your support for the Patriot Act and for legal provisions that allowed for, among other things, roving wiretaps. Can I just ask you, do you support Americans' right to use end-to-end encryption tools, or do you think that end-to-end encryption is something that poses a danger that needs to be addressed?
Well, Senator, I think end-to-end encryption provides invaluable benefits to personal privacy, to cybersecurity. I've seen the tremendous benefits that it provides. I also know from my prior work that the proliferation of the use of end-to-end encryption by criminal actors, including those who exploit children, and of course, terrorist actors, kidnappers, you name it, has posed a significant challenge for state and local law enforcement in particular. And I know this is an area that is the subject of a great deal of focus and a number of legislative proposals. So if I'm confirmed, I look forward to working with you and other members of the committee who I know this is an important issue for.
If you are confirmed, do you anticipate pursuing measures that would disincentivize or even outlaw the use of these encryption technologies, end-to-end encryption?
I have no present intention to pursue any such proposals on one end of the spectrum or any other end of the spectrum. I think I look forward to seeing proposals that are put forward and evaluating each one individually.
Very good. Thank you for that. Let me just ask you one other question about Guantanamo Bay. When you served as President Obama's Homeland Security Advisor, you were tasked with closing down the Gitmo facility. President Biden has expressed an interest now in resuming this effort. If you're confirmed, do you envision that you will oversee or be involved in any part of such an effort?
I don't know what role I will play if I am confirmed, Senator. I suspect the Justice Department would participate in an interagency process, which I understand from public reporting is something the Biden administration is contemplating. I would just note in my past experience that the safe closure and the safe transfer of individuals consistent with a independent threat assessment and security measures is something that the past administrations, Republican and Democratic, have been able to accomplish. And given that my understanding is also that it's a very, very costly, it continues to be a very, very costly endeavor to house individuals there, that the Justice Department will participate in that interagency effort.
Just on that last point, where would you envision housing new detainees, assuming the Guantanamo Bay facility is closed?
I'm sorry, Senator, new detainees?
Yeah, where would you envision housing them if Gitmo is closed?
Well, I don't believe that there has been a single additional person or new person added to the Guantanamo facility in going on 8-10 years now. And I think I know there have been a number of exceptionally successful terrorism and other prosecutions in that time. So I think we would use the federal criminal justice system.
Ms. Gupta, let me shift to you. You wrote in the 2005 article in the Fordham Law Review that critical race lawyering is about transforming business as usual in the criminal justice system, a business that is usually masked as being racially neutral, bias-free, a just the crime facts ma'am industry. We have to transform that business as usual into a counter narrative about police practices, racial bias, and the irrationality of many of our criminal justice policies. That's a quote. Let me just ask you, should criminal justice policy be race neutral or no?
Senator, thank you for raising that. The enforcement of our criminal laws needs to be neutrally done. What I was discussing, as I recall, though it's been a while, in that article was the importance of recognizing and naming racial bias in our criminal justice system and being able to advance policies that could understand and recognize that, and that trying to just do this work around criminal justice reform without recognizing the particular racial disparities of some of these policies doesn't serve anyone well.
Do you think the criminal justice system, is there ever a circumstance in which you think it's appropriate to treat people differently on the basis of race?
Absolutely not.
Let me just thank you for that. My time has almost expired, so let me just ask you one other thing, Ms. Gupta, and then I'll have some additional questions for you and for Ms. Monaco in writing for the record. You stated, I believe in the past, Ms. Gupta, that states should decriminalize the simple possession of all drugs, particularly marijuana, and for small amounts of other drugs. Now, are you advocating, is that including, does that reach as broad as your statement says? I mean, are you talking about the decriminalization across the board? Is that still a policy you advocate?
Senator, I don't support decriminalization of all drugs. I have supported decriminalization of marijuana possession. I had that was a prior position. I am very clear that I do not support decriminalization of all drugs. There are many drugs that are having a devastating impact on and ravaging communities. And I believe, however, that substance use disorder is both a public health problem and an enforcement problem, and that it is important to treat those things as such. But I don't support decriminalization of drugs.
Well, thank you. And I'll just end with this, Mr. Chairman. I just want to say on that point that you, as you raised, Ms. Gupta, that my state, Missouri in particular, we've been devastated by heroin abuse, fentanyl, abuse of opioids outside of their prescription. And so I would be very concerned about any decriminalization policy. I'll have some additional questions for you for the record. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.